Hey, did you know that I made a plushie? This is my first ever plushie and I'm so excited. I feel so professional. I feel like a real YouTuber. Look how good she looks. She's made out of minky and she's stuffed. Like, Diva is thick. Every time I show her off to someone, their first reaction is to punch her. Yeah, they take a beating like no problem. This plushie is only available for a limited time, so if you want your very own Kelsey animated plush to abuse and she's too big to fit in a jar, sorry, you can pre-order her right now over on youtooz.com. I'll have the link in the description and in the comments. Thank you so much for the support and the love for it. Oh, I'm so excited! We are so back. I've got a couple more fun things to use your OCs for if you need a little inspiration or you want to pull your forgotten OCs out of retirement. This is your sign. Nurse, he's out again. I have this trio of characters, Rachel, Ronnie, and Dick. I revamped their ancient-ass designs in this video, and they occupy my mind a lot. They're everywhere. If you want to know more about their lore and their story, you should watch those other videos. Here's a little refresher. This is Dick. He is a football guy and is about to lose his college scholarship because his grades are terrible. This is Ronnie. He attends a rival college, but he is also volunteering as a tutor to help Dick keep his scholarship. And Rachel, that burnt-out gifted kid who wants to live it up in college. However, her best friend, Ronnie, starts developing a crush on her arch nemesis, Dick. There's more to it than that, but basically it's just me writing fan fiction about characters I made when I was 14. But there's so much I love to their dynamics, and I keep coming up with more and more lore. That's why the first one on our list is some family photos. I'm gonna start here with Mr. Dick Richards over here. I wanted to start with him because I drew him and his family like once before, forever ago, so I'm also kind of redesigning them. But let's get into it. At first, I'm like, okay, what kind of energy does Dick give me? Would this character be a child of divorce? I feel like he would be kind of forgotten. So I was like, yes, he's definitely a middle child. I drew all of these in my sketchbook first. Your family has a lot of influence on the kind of person that you're gonna turn out to be. So I was like, what toxic family dynamic should I give this guy? So, Richard's father, Richard Richards the First. These names are so fucking stupid. Stay with me, please. He is head captain of the high school football team, but he used to be like a college football star at, you guessed it, the college that Dick is in right now. Which is also the reason why Dick is going there in the first place, is because his daddy pulled some strings for him to get this scholarship. There were actually a couple of old comics that I did with him and his dad. They're like low-key funny. Kicking me off the team? I'm your son. I thought you loved me. If I loved you, I wouldn't have named you Dick. And then another one. You got kicked off the football team, Dick. Why? You kicked me off, Dad. You're the coach. Low-key, they feel like they'd be from Texas. But this whole story takes place somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, so they can't be that bad, right? His dad definitely puts a lot of pressure on him. His mom, MILF by the way. Her name is Regina. I don't know why I wanted to keep the R theme, so his parents are Regina or Gina and Richard Richards, but Richard can't be called Richard because Richard is his dad, so his parents are like, let's just call him Dick for short. That won't affect him growing up and being bullied or at all, like ever. But also, if Richard is a middle child, obviously I have to give him an older sibling and a younger sibling, so I thought, wouldn't it be so fun if he just got compared to an older brother all the time? I'm thinking his older brother is like everything that his dad wants him to be, but he's just not. Introducing his brother Rodney, which I wanted him to have the same kind of vibe as Roderick from Diary of the Wimpy Kid, and also Thad Castle from Blue Mountain State. Yeah, that's definitely Rodney. I'm thinking he's just following in Dad's footsteps, and he's like a star quarterback. He's like the golden child that he always gets compared to. I think that's perfect. And then he has a younger sister, Rosalind, or Rosie for short. Just gotta keep all the R's in the family, I guess. But in my sketchbook I wrote here, Gina and Richards were high school sweethearts and got married after college. Gina is a stay-at-home mom. She probably runs an MLM. Rodney is a star quarterback at Lone Pines, and his last year there is going to be Dick's first, so he's kind of being sent there as a replacement for Rodney because they really want to keep him there. But Dick is nowhere near as good as this guy. Rosie is also in her high school's track and debate team. Thinking maybe kind of like Anais from Amazing World of Gumball. I could keep going on about them forever, actually. Gina is very obsessed about their image, especially as a family. More pressure on your son, please. Also want to add in the fact Rosie's the baby of the family, gets anything that she wants. She can do no wrong, and Dick is not treated like that either. Poor guy. So when I was designing this, I was like, okay, what kind of photos would this family want to get done? I think this family would definitely pay for a photographer to like go out in the middle of nowhere and like take these really cheesy ass group photos. I decided also to give Richard a pink shirt. I made this doodle after the fact where Rosie washes her shirt in with his laundry, and that's why it's pink. This made me also think about like, where are they staying in college? I'm like, Rodney's a cool big shot. Maybe he lives on campus, but I'm also thinking this guy is definitely a moocher. He's living at home. He doesn't have to pay for shit. He just does whatever his parents tell him to do, and he eats it up. I think they're just gonna let him live at home. And so they make Richard do the same. He doesn't live in the dorms or anything. Like, he's just always stuck at home. But Dad, football is your dream. And Rodney's dream. Why do I gotta do it too? Bob! Sorry, I'm rambling right now. But a big thing about his character is that he just wants to fit in as much as possible. He actually used to be friends with Rachel, but they had a big falling out because in order to feel accepted by his peers, he started bullying Rachel. He was also a bully before then because any attention from his parents is better than no attention from his parents. Yep. Waiter, give this boy some anxiety and trauma and identity issues, please. But do they love each other? Yes, of course. Is there a lot of external pressure is being pushed upon him? Yes. Holy shit, have I been talking about him for that long? Anyway, yeah, this kind of sent me spiraling on more about their family dynamics, so I guess it did the trick. The next one I started on is actually Ronnie and his mommy. He definitely gave me mama's boy vibes. Jungwoo! Hope I am pronouncing that right. It is a Korean name. I do not speak Korean. Oh, I love her so much. Who's his father? I don't give a fuck. I don't think even she gives a fuck. Let's see what I wrote in the sketchbook. Jang became pregnant after graduating high school, and rather than getting married in Korea, she wanted to continue her education as an international student. That landed her at Westbridge, which is the rival school that Ronnie goes to. And while she was working on her degree, she raised her son Ronnie along the way. Oh! Like mother, like son. They're literally almost the exact same person. But I couldn't decide what kind of career she should have. Maybe she's like a doctor or a nurse, or like maybe some like corporate office siren. Okay. Or like at a bank. But now one of you commented that she should be like a pediatrician. I think that's perfect. Especially if she went to school to become a doctor and she was also raising Ronnie as she was in school. And also she's a shorter woman and Ronnie is like a 6 foot tall giant Goliath. That's pretty funny. She just loves her son. Why am I crying? Does she put really high standards on her child? Yes. Ronnie's obsessed with being perfect because he's her perfect little boy who can do no wrong and is just incredibly smart. Bazinga. Just like her. Oh, but I made her like very affectionate, which is so funny because Ronnie is not. I say that as if I don't draw him like dry hump kissing all the time. I'm also thinking like when Ronnie and Rachel were deciding where to go to college, Ronnie didn't really pick anything else besides Westbridge because hello, that's what his mother went to. She was a Westbridge graduate, so of course he's gonna go there. But then when Rachel chose Lone Pines, he was heartbroken. He didn't even think that was an option. What do you mean my only friend's not coming with? Fuck. Oh, also for her career, I'm thinking while she was in school, she could have done like all of these. A jack of all trades and a master of all of them. Because she's OP as fuck. So she has a lot of life experience, which Ronnie is kind of sheltered to, okay? He's been babied. Oh my god, and she would love Rachel. Ronnie finally brings a friend home and it's this very smart girl. Now I'm also thinking, does she low-key think that they're dating? Is she like... Does she ship them? I don't know, I think she's definitely smart enough to pick up that shit since Ronnie was a kid. Maybe when Ronnie brings Rachel home, she's like confused. She's like, wait, but I thought... Anyway, I keep rambling. We're still only on the first idea, so let's get into Rachel's whole family right now. You know what's worse than being a burnt out gifted kid? A burnt out gifted kid that is also the eldest daughter of a large family. Let's go! Okay, I don't know why I keep doing a theme for everyone's names, but everyone in Rachel's family, their name ends with an L. So Daniel and Crystal Ramirez are her parents, and I wrote down they were the it couple in the 90s and the early 2000s, and they finally married after Rachel was born. Daniel is a blue-collar worker. One of you said he should be a truck driver, so actually he's a truck driver. And Crystal is a beautician. She does hairs and nails. I like to imagine that she does the hair and nails of the other mothers. I just want them all to be friends. Sean's like the pediatrician for everyone's kids. Wait, that's so cute. They go to PTA meetings together. Okay, anyway, together their family grew with Raul, Manuel, then Gabriel, and then Jewel, who is the baby of the family. I don't have their exact ages. This drawing took forever because there's so many of them in here. Bro, get off of her, please! I also think it's really cute how Rachel is the only one that looks like her mother. Did your dad even try putting this MILF in like early 2000s fashion? God damn, that's good! But her being an eldest sister, like I imagine her parents both work as she grew up, and then also when her siblings come into the picture, she basically has to watch over them all the time just because she's the oldest. Oh, Rachel. I really like how Rachel gets her nose from her dad. And then her mom has all these moles on her face, and every single kid that she pops out has one of the moles from her. So cute. Because her mom is a hairstylist, I can see Rachel having a bunch of different dyed hair phases growing up. Now she's just rocking the blonde and growing it out. Rachel with pink hair when? I say that like I'm not the creator of her. I can just do that. One of my favorite things about Rachel and her design is her big ass gauges, like her little Lars ears. And I was like, oh, I'll make her dad have gauges. And then I gave her mom, like, hoops. Oh my god. With Rachel's whole story being, like, she wants to enjoy college life and, like, not have to be a babysitter or valedictorian or all this stuff. She just wants to party. She would live on campus, and I also think she would be an RA. But then, of course, I have to think about how Dick and Ronnie would have been introduced to this family, because Dick and Rachel being childhood friends and then reuniting in college and being introduced to the family again, he's gonna see siblings that he had no idea were even born. And Ronnie, I think Crystal and John would definitely ship Rachel and Ronnie together, and then Crystal would have to be like, yeah, I don't think that's happening. Or maybe they just joke about it just so that they could be related one day. You're telling me this woman has this many children and isn't BFFs with her pediatrician? Yeah, okay, pal. So, for their big family photo, wouldn't it be funny if they did one of those J.C. Penney photo shoots where they all wear, like, matching denim outfits? I feel like that's something they would do. When they're wearing the white and the jeans, Rachel is basically just wearing her regular outfit. In my head, I'm like, yes, this is Rachel's family, and you can tell because they're wearing the same clothes. That's not... I couldn't stop looking at that, so I had to do the other color palette just for my own sanity. Did I need to do that? No, not necessary at all. But I think the family photos turned out so freaking cute, and I rambled way too much about their family. I hope it got some of your gears turning, because holy shit, that took over about a week of my life at least. Okay, I'm still thinking about it. But anyway, I'm getting tired of fucking drawing at this point. Unfortunately, I'm still suffering from my illness. I want to have content about my characters, but I am the only one who can do that. So let's go ahead and take a quiz, but as my characters. You can do this with, like, random BuzzFeed quizzes, or like zodiac sign, or this one. That was a weird questionnaire, but I hope I passed. Today I'm gonna do the Myers-Briggs one as Dick, Ronnie, and Rachel. This is Dick's, okay? Disagree. Your living and working spaces are clean and organized. No. Yes. You enjoy experimenting with new and untested approaches. What is that supposed to mean? You're prone to worrying about things that will take a turn for the worse. Yeah, my bro got anxiety. In disagreements, you prioritize proving your point over preserving the feelings of others. No. Bro is king of people pleasing. You rarely second guess the choices you have made wrong. You feel confident that things will work out for you. Low-key, no. Entertainer. See, this sounds a lot like Rachel, actually. Your charm and social prowess are your superpowers, but bro is horrible at it. You're likely self-conscious, sensitive to stress, success-driven perfectionism, and eager to improve. Now see that, yeah. When you excel in the spotlight, your abilities go far, blah, 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 me, blah. Elton John. Why? Now we're doing Ronnie. You regularly make new friends. Hard no. You usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. Yeah. You like to use organizing tools. Yeah. Even a small mistake. Yeah. You prioritize being sensitive over being completely honest. No! You cannot imagine yourself writing fictional stories for a living. And wait, would Ronnie be making fan fiction? When facts and feelings conflict, you usually find yourself following your heart. No. I should do the the autism quiz, the RADS. You feel confident that things will work out for you. Loki, no! Show me the money. Yeah, I knew it would be purple. Introverted. Intuitive. Thinking. Yeah. Judging. In your relationships, you value depth, authenticity, and intellectual connection above all else. You seek partners and friends who can engage in meaningful conversations and appreciate your unique perspective on the world. However, your tendency to prioritize logic over emotion can create challenges in your personal connections, and your direct communication style might sometimes come across as harsh or insensitive. Okay, period. Quietly caring. Aww. Difficulty sharing vulnerabilities and high relationship standards. Yeah, I think that's right for my boy Ronald. Michelle Obama! Ooh. Let's do it for Rachel. It's fun. You regularly make new friends. Yes. Even a small mistake can cause you to doubt. No. Rachel would double down and gaslight you, I think. You prioritize being sensitive over being completely honest. I don't know. She's also kind of a blunt person, so I'm gonna say low-key disagree. So you're prone to worrying about things that will take a turn for the worse? Hell no! When facts and feelings conflict, you usually find yourself following your heart. Yes. You rarely second guess the choices you have made. Yeah. You rarely feel insecure. Yeah. You're still bothered by mistakes that you have made a long time ago. No, because Rachel has never made a mistake, ever. You feel confident that things will work out for you. Protagonist! Okay, period! As an ENFP, you possess a unique blend of charisma, empathy, and idealism that sets you apart in any crowd. It's often sensing what others need before they even realize it themselves. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Your empathetic nature is both your greatest strength and your potential Achilles heel, and you may find yourself taking on others' problems as your own. And you may find yourself less fulfilled by solitary or highly analytical work. Your relationships. Overlooking red flags. Barack Obama. Oh my god. It's a match made in heaven. Reading some of those questions and then thinking long and hard about, what would my character do? Got my gears turning. Why was I gonna say gooch? Got my engine revving. Got my ideas flowing. Now that we have all of these ideas, we're gonna bring it back to a classic gender swap episode. This was probably one of the hardest things for me to draw. I don't know if it was just the day I was having, the fact I couldn't. The cure for yaoi burnout is Yuri. Doing these designs made me fucking crazy. I was upset. I don't know what was wrong with me, but usually a gender swap I can eat up immediately, but I wanted to do them so much justice. I couldn't. Why was it so hard? Ronnie ended up looking like his mom, and I was like, no! Dick was easy. I just gave him a slightly longer mullet and yitties. There's my girl failure. Why was that so easy? And Ronnie is so hard. Oh my god, don't even get me started on Rachel. 1. Blonde men are evil and shouldn't be trusted. 2. My brother is a scrawny tall man with blonde long hair, and every time I drew Rachel, I couldn't stop seeing my brother, and it was driving me crazy! You get it. I just rambled about siblings for half an hour. I was getting frustrated with this, so I started to redraw some of my old art, but just gender swapped. I was like, maybe it would be easier for me to like these designs and like to get used to them if I draw them a bunch. So that's what you're gonna see me doing now before I even try the final piece. But in the end, everything worked out okay, except Rachel. Which wouldn't be Rachel, it would be called Ray. And instead of Dick, her name would be Di. No, it would be like Dee Dee or something. Or Diva. Okay, Diva. And Ronnie would be Ronnie still. This got me thinking a lot about how far does the gender swap go, because it affects our story, because the whole thing with Dick and all of his like toxic masculinity shit, would it be reversed? Would Dee Dee be a cheerleader, or would she do college women's football? There is college women's football. I did look it up. But then also, are their parents gender swapped? I don't know how far it goes. Because it affects the story so much. Is Gina now Gary? Help! A couple more things I want to add before this gets too long, okay? Oh my god, I really love how Ronnie ended up. I was thinking way too hard about it, and then I decided on these final designs, which, first of all, love Ronnie's shoes. Rachel. Ray. I, in the end, could not decide. You know me, I hate deciding something. Does Ray still only look like his mom? And would his mom still be Crystal? Is Crystal now her dad? Or would Daniel be his dad and the other siblings are also gender swapped? Do you see it? How I keep confusing myself? Guys, gender isn't real. I can't figure this shit out. I'm non-binary. Stop. This shit's too confusing. But also, I couldn't decide whether Ray has a mustache or not. Doesn't matter, because either way, that's still my brother. Fuck you, Brody. You look like a lesbian. I say that I might revisit these. I'm going to revisit these designs someday and maybe make a version of Rachel that I don't despise. I know it's probably not even that bad, but to me, this is world ending. Hey, guess what? That's happening right now. After I finished their final designs, I was like, if I just draw them more, it'll look good. And also, I did decide to give Rachel like a Luigi mustache just because like her eyebrows are kind of that shaped. His eyebrows are kind of that shaped. Fuck! Rachel always looks like Rachel when she's grumpy. So what if I just try to draw Ray grumpy? I wanted it to be kind of like a digital camera kind of thing that they would pose for. And they turned out cute. Do I still hate the way Ray looks? Low-key, yeah. Low-key, yeah. Yeah, I think the more I draw them, the more I like them. So, guys, practice doesn't make perfect, but practice does mean progress. But yay, Yuri! Thanks for listening to me scream a bunch. How about we go to our next one and do a fun little craft instead, okay? I do not have a speed paint for this, but I did take progress pictures. Me and all my siblings wanted to make shrinky dinks. Now, this is not a tutorial on how to do shrinky dinks, because we didn't even use shrinky dink paper. Apparently, if you use some type of plastic, they do the same shit. So sanded one side so that markers and colored pencils would show up on there. If you get the shrinky dink paper, it would make this a lot easier. I just doodled my little trio, traced it onto the plastic, colored it in, and then we baked it. And I tried to get a video, but you can't even see through the fucking oven, so I don't even... Why is this footage even here? Be so fucking for real. And then they turned out great. No, they turned out cute. We hole punched them, so we're able to like make them into keychains or whatever. They turned out pretty cute. Also, I put the pan on the very bottom of my oven, so the ones in the center got cooked a little faster than the others. But you know what? I did like the craft. I liked spending the time with my family, and the end result isn't too bad. I will probably do it again. Now it's like I have merch of my own OCs. I can make these into keychains. Oh, they're kissing. And now I'm gonna leave you with, I definitely came up with this idea by myself and definitely did not find this artist on TikTok. This artist in particular, giving a tutorial and talking about making low-res anime screenshots of your own characters. This is the type of shit that feeds my delusions into thinking these characters are real. I looked up on Pinterest a bunch of like silly anime screenshots, usually like reaction images from like a background character in an anime. So I was like, what if they had their own animated show? What would some of the reaction images pulled from the background be? I had a sketch of Dick that I never finished. I wanted to give Ronnie his actually that he always does. And I wanted to have Rachel flipping someone off, because that's very in character. That artist on TikTok has a more in-depth version, but this is what I did. I just drew them really small on my big ass canvas. Sorry, the speed paint is kind of ass because of that. But what I basically did, resize the image really small and then really big and then really small and then really big. And then sometimes I would put grain on there, or sometimes I would pixelate a layer on top of it and overlay it so it's blurry, but it's like the right kind of blurry that matches a screenshot. I tried out the crunching method with a screenshot of a comic that I had already made, so you can even just do that. Just steal from yourself. Crunch the image to high hell however you want it. If it was a screenshot from an anime that's been passed around the internet, it's gonna have a lot of distortion, is the right word? But these ended up looking so real. I think my favorite one is Dick's and Rachel's and Ronnie's. So I really recommend that. Dia, and if you want a real in-depth tutorial on how it works, you definitely shouldn't take a look at that one. Holy shit, this video is long. But you made it to the end! Thank you! If you made it this far and haven't gone to youtooz.com to pre-order a plushie, go do that now. I have a lot more ideas for things to do with your OCs, but drawing all of this has kind of killed me. So, if you have any ideas, leave them in the comments because I read every comment ever. Thanks for spending all this time with me, eating your lunch or doing your laundry or drawing with me. Oh my god, wait, you did? Bro, what the fuck? Did you just copy my answers? That's fucked up. Bye, the plushie.